Disclaimer. This program is intended for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. The following program is intended for mature audience only.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kathy Swain Jones.
Hi, I'm Dr. Denise Joseph Zollicoffer.
Hi, and I'm Sonia Williams Finney.
And this is
Menopause Diaries, real talk, real stories.
Welcome to Menopause Diaries, real talk, real stories. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. If this is not your first time, we hope that you have enjoyed the podcast so far and that you are telling your friends about it, your mom, your sisters about the podcast, and that they're listening and learning something as we go along. As you know, we bring on guests and we have them share their stories, and we take a deep dive into menopause and how we can navigate menopause and support each other as we go along. Today, we have the pleasure of welcoming another guest, and she was so gracious in allowing us to bring her on the program and talk about what's been going on in her life as she navigates menopause. Her name is Karen Shaw, and she is from the South Florida region. Welcome, Karen.
Hi, how you doing? How you doing, ladies?
Welcome.
We're glad you're here. Just like I said to you, this is like a coffee shop, girl talk. So feel free to share as much as you would like, and we'll just jump in. We'll have a conversation and hopefully make it meaningful. So Karen, if you would start by just telling us a little bit about yourself.
It has been a roller coaster ride with my emotions, with my body changing, and it's kind of challenging, especially when you have a mate, because I'm married. I've been married for 6 years now, and I have to send him stuff that's the things that's going on with me so he can understand, but he is very understanding. And when it comes to menopause, now, at one point, I was very excited to turn 50. Now I'm not excited at all.
Yeah. When did your symptoms start? Did they start before 50 or after 50?
They started at the beginning of this year.
Okay.
Beginning of this year, but really, I have been really seeing the signs around July.
Okay.
With the irregular periods.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My period, it comes on like clockwork every month. And when I seen the change where it used to come on at the end of the month, and then all of a sudden it started coming at the beginning of the month, and then last month it stayed on for a whole month.
Hello.
Now this month it hasn't even came on yet.
Yep. Yeah. Do you know what that's called?
That is called what they call it, irregular periods, right?
Well, it's called perimenopause.
Perimenopause. Okay.
So perimenopause is the years it's going to take you to finally go 12 months without a cycle, and then that's menopause. And do you know the average age for most women who are to stay in perimenopause?
It's what's the
average age that it takes a woman to get to where she's going?
50s, early 50s, maybe?
Well, and that's why Karen's unique, because she can spot it. A lot of women kind of start they'll go a couple of years and look back and say, I've been miserable. This must be perimenopause. Mm-hmm. But the average age for African American women is 7 to 10 years. The perimenopause period. So she said she started right about now. So it could end in a year, or it could take up to 7 to 10 years before you finally have your last period. And so you could be symptomatic. That's why this conversation's important, because it sounds to me, if you're feeling that bad, you got to kind of figure out, hey, what can I do to feel better and keep my relationship and all of that? And that's the beauty of being able to have this conversation early on.
Right. And a lot of people don't, I was looking forward to this. I was really looking forward to this because I wanted my cycle to stop.
Yes. You
Because
thought
my
that was a good
my
thing. Nobody told you
cycles be
about.
heavy. They be kind of heavy. You know, they
Yeah.
stay on 7 days, and I have to go to the store and buy all these pads and tampons and spending money. So when it started being irregular, I was like, "Ooh, I think it's changing. Ooh, I'm so excited." Now it's like, okay, I feel something crawling on me. I'm
That's
itching.
funny. I even found
So,
myself not long ago even telling somebody I almost wish I had. And I was like, I almost think I would take having my period again over all these symptoms and things I'm experiencing. Seriously.
oh my goodness. No, no. And let me tell you, let me give you an example of one of my symptoms that happened to me last week. And I told my husband, I say, I was laying down and my vagina started vibrating.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's like, it just, zzz, zzz. It's like, and I'm like, what is going on? Is it going to stop? But it did it for about a good hour.
Really?
Wow.
That's a
Well,
new
I
one.
hope
I
that was
haven't
a
heard of
good
that one.
thing.
Well, I mean,
Look, it's annoying when you're not playing with toys, and you know what I'm saying?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot, but part of what the perimenopause period is like you'll have some days completely normal. And then you'll
Right.
have days where you're in estrogen excess. And estrogen excess may mean that month your breast may hurt, you might feel bloated, your periods might be heavy. Then it may follow with 3 months of no period. Then you're having hot flashes, you feel dry, you're moody. And so, it can go back and forth. And those little spasms may have been kind of your estrogen kicking back in again.
Oh,
Did
that's
you
what that
feel a
is?
little did you feel a little frisky?
No, I just was concentrating on that feeling stopping.
Okay.
Because I wasn't, it's kind of scared me for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And the whole thing about, and that's why we enjoy these stories. I don't think we've had one story that has been exactly like the other one. And
No,
so
we
we
haven't.
enjoy being able to get this out and for women to understand that it's not abnormal. And, the unfun parts we can talk about, easy things that you can do to feel better with the hot flashes and to kind of calm things down. But tell us more.
Also, so what I have been doing to calm down a lot of my symptoms is I take ashwagandha.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing a lot of research on ashwagandha, and it relaxes you. And
When did you
also,
start the ashwagandha?
I really started it the beginning of the year.
Okay.
Because I used to hold things on my mind all the time, and so my anxiety had went up. And I believe it was my cortisone level that was taking me to it was just taking me all out of whack. And then and it had got to the point where my anxiety was so high it started affecting the right side of my face. So, so when I started taking the ashwagandha, all that feeling came back because I had got a numb feeling. So all that feeling had came back, and ashwagandha, it takes you to a point where you just do not care about anything. That's
you mean
where
it
it took
relaxes?
me.
But it also increased your sex drive.
Well, I don't know when that's gonna start kicking in. I'm waiting for that moment.
Okay, well, but the first thing it does is it gets the anxiety level down, gets you
Okay.
sleeping better, and then after that, have you been sleeping better for at least 3 months, or at least
For the
6 to 8
last
weeks?
for the last 2 months, I've been sleeping better.
Well, that'll be the next thing that comes back.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, that's good.
But yeah, I've been going through the vaginal dryness. And one thing about me, I pay attention to my body. So I can tell when something is happening. And as for the vaginal dryness, I had also did some research on this herb that you take, and what it does, it lines your gut. but also it makes you more moist.
Mm-hmm. I think
And
that
I've
was
been
a
taking it
slippery,
for
was
the
that the
past
slippery
week.
elm?
Yeah,
That's
the
the
slippery
slippery elm.
elm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's been
It's
working.
like a liquid Band-Aid from your mouth,
Mm-hmm.
all of your orifice, all of your, any tissue that's like the inside of your mouth, it coats it. So it's
Yeah.
good for heartburn. It's good for gas. It's good for a lot of things. So,
I
and
hope
so
it's good
that
for
brought
my
your
dry
moisture
eyes.
back.
I have dry eyes, so lately my eyes have not been dry.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you taking that on a regular basis?
I take it
Or when you need
once
to?
every 2 days. Like once every
Okay.
2 days.
Okay.
What is
So,
that? Is it a pill?
Girl.
Is it a pill or a liquid?
It's a pill.
Yeah.
It's a pill.
Yeah.
And
But
it's
and it's
it
called
liquid.
slippery
but it
elm.
increases the mucus and moisture of your mucosal gland. So like if you
Yeah.
have dry eyes, dry nasal passages, dry mouth, dry throat, heartburn. So even a lot of times, even for leaky gut, it just goes in and it just coats everything.
Yeah.
And so the vagina gets that same kind of little, coating.
So
Mm-hmm.
so it's a as needed. It's not something you take every day.
So we use it therapeutically, like let's just say if somebody had leaky gut, they had some problems, like little ulcers inside their gut or leaking inside. We use it as a liquid Band-Aid as somebody's going through therapy, or you can use it as needed. So let's just say your dry eyes and dry vagina are bothering you and you decided you wanted to take that. However, you probably will need to continue to take it. So you take it and then you kind of get your little rhythm of it. It might be once or twice a week. It could be once or twice a month. But it just gives you that sort of that moisture you didn't have.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
why I love these conversations because I
know.
learn so much each time.
Now, here's the difference, though, because we always talk about that hormone, the
Yeah.
bioidentical hormones that some women use.
Mm-hmm.
Slippery elm is not going to give you that. Slippery
Mm-hmm.
elm is going to give you the lubrication, and see, she's early on. She's just knocking at the door, unfortunately, of
Right.
her perimenopause. But 5, usually, like it'll set in 3 to 5 years after you've been into menopause, where
Mhm.
maybe that, adding something back, she might need to add something back. But for right now, you did perfect.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Oh wow. I do a lot
And
of
were
reading.
you having any stomach problems at all with digestion or anything? Because it helps with that also. Were you having any or no? Just the dryness.
I have nauseated. I be nauseated a lot.
Now
Oftentimes.
or before?
Before. Before.
Okay, does the slippery elm help you with that at
Mhm.
all? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I started taking the probiotics, and that's been helping a whole lot.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, you've been doing your reading, girl. You could teach a class. Very good. So the probiotics, what happens when we go through menopause, and this is where we want to catch people. A lot of
Mhm.
times, a lot of the patients that I work with start out just like you, but they don't find help until 2 or 3 years down the road. You're
Mhm.
putting your natural balancers in place now, and this makes a world of difference on how how your menopause is going to be managed. So that's great, because your probiotic is going to help keep the gut health so that the hormonal changes that you have won't affect your microbiome.
Right.
What else do you have?
Um.
Did your family teach you about, did your mom or your grandma, did anybody ever talk to you about menopause and what to
Not
expect,
at all.
what
Not
theirs
at
was
all. Back
like?
in the day, when I think about it, I had talked to my mom, and I was like, "Did you ever go through menopause?" And I think back then they never really talked about it. They just went on by their day and raising their kids and going to work every day. And she said she probably had some symptoms, but she didn't pay no attention to it because she had a family to raise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But now, all my kids are grown and gone, so I'm paying more attention to, my body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you having
And
any hot flashes?
I don't have many hot. That's one thing I don't have. I
There
don't
you go.
have many hot flashes. I did have one hot flash Well, I had to stand in the freezer at Walmart.
You just kept looking and looking and looking.
You don't
Right.
have hot
They
flashes, but the one time you did, you had to go stand in the freezer and walk.
At
Yeah.
Walmart, and my husband was like, "What you doing?" I said, "I think I'm having a hot flash." I said, "I am burning up from the inside out."
Oh Lord, not that you had to go in the freezer at Walmart though.
Oh,
That's
I was just standing there, just standing there.
Oh my
But
goodness.
other than that, I haven't had like a real bad one. That was like the worst one I ever had. Now every now and then I may get a little hot, but it's not like, you know how I see people. You know, I have a cousin of mine. She walks around with a washcloth because she just constantly, you can see it on her. She just drenched,
Mm-hmm.
drenched.
Here's the
Well,
good part about you is because you're starting some of your supplements early, you
Hmm.
may you may kind of miss the depth of that phase because you are aiding some of the areas that get really out of balance. Because right now I think you're still making more of the estrogen hormone than the progesterone hormone, and so it's
Hmm.
still you're still having on that heavy bleeding side. And so when there's going to be a point though, your estrogen may fall, but if you continue to do the supportive supplements that you're doing, you may miss that whole torture phase of the hot flashes.
Oh, okay, okay.
Karen, it
Now
sounds like you may
I
need to share some of your wisdom with your cousin there. Talk to her about, all the stuff, the supplements you're taking.
I do. I do. I do. I need to share it with her because I mean, when you look at her, you just see sweat, and I'd be like, "You having a hot flash?" She'd be like, "Can't you tell? I'm soaked over here." Oh
So
my goodness, that's bad. But but as far
How
as,
is your husband dealing with everything? Is he just sort of sitting back saying, "Baby, I wish I could take it for you," or he understands?
he don't say much about it, but he
Yeah.
kind of understand when I come to him and explain to him what it is, and he be like, "Oh, yeah, I already know you're going through menopause. I already know," and that pretty much be the conversation.
because
How
I
does
mean,
that word
you
make
are
you feel? You said you were happy. Now it's turned into, well, I didn't think it was going to be all of this. You feel disappointed? What would you say it would be?
I don't feel disappointed I'm going through the menopause. It's just the changes going through the menopause because I just don't want no period no more. That's the
yeah.
main thing. That period used to take me, I mean, it used to take me out where I used to be feel sluggish.
Yeah.
You know, my iron levels was off and they wanted to give me an iron infusion. I told them I didn't want no iron infusion. I said I would take pills or whatever and do whatever. I find a natural herb or something to bring my iron up. Now, at one time I wasn't eating meat. I had did the vegan lifestyle, no meat.
Hmm.
But then the doctor was telling me, you have to at least eat, liver or beef or
Yeah.
something like that. So I start adding that back to my diet. So as far as the weakness and me being tired all the time, I haven't since I started the beef back
Yeah.
again.
Well, perimenopause is a little different. So you need to kind of get prepared for if had tended to have periods on the heavy side
Mm-hmm.
because what happens is, your estrogen and progesterone are balanced, but what ends up happening is when if your hormones shift more, you might start bleeding heavier. And you've got to, possibly have a plan for that. There's a balloon procedure you can do called an endometrial ablation. It's a 2-minute procedure, and then you can go through perimenopause and menopause, but you won't have any bleeding. So when
Mm-hmm.
we put the balloon inside, it blows up inside the uterus, and inside that balloon is it's like hot water gas, and it's like you iron the inside of the uterus. So it is a
Mm-hmm.
procedure that, because it's an outpatient quick 2-minute procedure, a lot of women enjoy during the perimenopause. If you can stand the bleeding, you're fine. But if you get to the
Mm-hmm.
point where you have to then be medicated or looking at getting a transfusion, because Perimenopausal bleeding can be 10 times worse than your normal heavy bleeding
Okay.
because of the hormonal shifts.
Mm-hmm.
And your body for years might have more estrogen than progesterone as you begin to go through that transition over the next few years. And you may be faced with, I mean, a lot of women are faced with having to have a transfusion or having to make a decision on a treatment because the bleeding gets out of hand.
Okay.
And so you shouldn't be scared of the treatments, but the good thing about what you're doing is you're balancing early, and you
Mm-hmm.
may be able to kind of avoid that.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, the IUD would go in for it goes in for up to 8 years, and it just gives you that extra progesterone, so it corrects the imbalance. But the balloon is a 2-minute, it's just burning the hair off your head basically, or burning the lining off the uterus, and you're
Mm-hmm.
done. You go home 30 minutes later.
Can you feel the IUD?
I never
I mean,
felt the IUD. I had 3 of them, and I never felt any of them ever. I mean, once they were in, and I didn't even think twice about them. So,
Even with
yeah,
sexual?
no, I never had any issues with that either. Nope, never. Like, no, my
Because it's
husband
actually
never.
inside the womb. So
Yeah.
he can't feel it in the vagina, you can't feel it. Neither one of you can feel it. You wouldn't even know it's there
Mm-hmm.
unless we told you. So we could either put it in or take it out, and you wouldn't know it.
Okay.
and Karen, I
I
guess,
didn't have
part of what,
I was going to say now I never had heavy periods though. So let me just say that. So if it sounds like you have much heavier periods than I had, because with the
Mm-hmm.
IUD, that was part of my problem. I never had a period. Once it got in, like I had some breakthrough bleeding like initially, but I never had a period. Hence why I'm in the predicament I am today, because I don't know when I stop having periods, because I wasn't having it anyways because of the IUD. Do you see what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying?
Well,
Right.
but here's the thing, the IUD was originally brought to the market for the perimenopausal woman who was having heavy bleeding because she had more estrogen than progesterone. Because most women, or a whole lot of women, drop their progesterone first. So the IUD was actually for perimenopausal bleeding to correct the imbalance. They got
Mm-hmm.
that in the market, and then they said, hey, it's also birth control. And so then it became the number one birth control device. So a lot of women meet it during, it's what the college students wear. It's what, I would say the majority of women, are heading to using that now. But it actually was designed for that heavy, uncontrollable bleeding. That bleeding where the doctor says, you got to choose something. You got to either be on the pill, you either got to, removing your uterus is a little too, I wouldn't remove a uterus for perimenopausal bleeding unless you had problems, unless they suspected there was an issue. But if you
Mm-hmm.
get to the point, or if anybody listening gets to the point where they say, you got to choose something. A lot of my patients would say, just do that 2-minute balloon procedure and then you're done. It changes nothing about you hormonally, nothing about you sexually. No changes other than your hormones still do their normal thing each month. You just don't bleed.
That
Remember, I've been around 30
I know,
years,
yeah,
little
but yeah,
ones.
yeah.
That's good to know. I never knew that
Yeah,
neither.
because here's the thing. If you are doing fine, don't worry. But we want to put these things out there because there's somebody out there saying, that's me. The
Mhm.
doctors are telling me I need a hysterectomy, and all I'm having is this bleeding just started during perimenopause. Or I'm anemic and I've got to get a blood transfusion, and they're telling me either birth control pills or the IUD, and a lot of doctors, I don't know if it's training or what, but they don't mention the balloon.
I think, Kathy, part of the issue is women go to the doctor. We're not having this frank a conversation.
Yeah.
We're not having a conversation about what are the options. Like, they may have said to Karen, well, you can get an ablation or you can get the IUD, but not explain to Karen
Yeah.
or anyone else, why and how it works, so that
Yeah.
she can make an informed decision about it and feel
Right.
comfortable.
And that's what we
Right.
hope that we will be, is that, our listeners can listen in and say, whatever, on one of those episodes, I'm going to learn what options I have to make the best decisions for my life.
Right.
But with Karen, I just want, because anybody who has heavy bleeding before they get to perimenopause, it can 10x during during the hormonal shifts. Hopefully you won't, but if you do, I would just do that balloon if you're if there's no other reason that you can't do it. I would talk to your doctor about it for sure.
Also,
Okay.
Karen, the fact that you're doing it, I can't emphasize how important it is that you're dealing with all of this and that you are, getting answers to questions that you have now. I mean, I wish I had done it years ago, but like I said, I'm older than you are. And so I'm having to, I'm learning things even today as I'm already in the menopause phase. But I think it's so good that, you're taking the time, you like you said, your body. I think that's so important. Nobody knows our bodies better than we do. And I just, I was talking to someone else. She's not going through menopause, but with something else. And I said to her, what worked for me may not necessarily work for you. So it's important that our listeners, the important thing is that you know your body better than anyone. And so what I think the takeaway is that when we go to the doctor now, we need to have a list of questions, or, we're presenting you, information for those of you that have listened, to previous tapings or recordings. But, what we're doing is giving you, information that you can go back and have those frank conversations with your doctors.
And then there's also some that, unless you say, I'm struggling with this.
Yeah.
No, it's not normal. They don't hear you. So you might spit something out and say, hey, well, my periods are getting a little heavy and I'm uncomfortable with that. Well, that's normal, and send you on your way. You've got to, kind of be your own advocate. But the good thing about Karen is, imagine she's starting this right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Of her perimenopause.
Exactly.
And most people don't begin to supplement and research and add the things that help keep the body in balance now, because the patients that I see have gone 3, 4, 5 years and their body is here and it's got to be fixed. You're keeping your optimal health right there, in the palm of your hand. And I would say to most is, if no matter what symptom you have, there's something you can do about it. There's not one person that's come on here we couldn't figure out something. But when a lot of us went through, we had no option. We had no conversations. We just did whatever our doctor said because we didn't know. We didn't know where we could go read about it in a magazine or watch a TV show or listen to it. There was nothing. So we were left at the hands of what they said we should be doing. And so you are our poster child on doing the research early, looking at your options. And the thing is, give your ashwagandha a little time, because that other little part, or you might need to increase it a little bit. I don't know. You could add also a little maca. Yes, write that down, ma'am. MACA. You want to get the mixed maca. Would you tell her, Miss Sonia, what to?
Yes,
what
you want the mixed maca. It's the red, the black, and the yellow. So you want the triple. And so for me personally, back
and maca's a plant.
Yeah, and it's a pill. And so I tried it out. I had literally no desire, and I'm not exaggerating, for about 10 years. I'm not exaggerating. So it goes back to like when Dr. Kathy was talking about the 7 to 10 year window. And again, I said I had an IUD. So I have no idea when I started going, even in perimenopause or, or don't even know where I am now, but I know I'm about 7, 8 years into, at least, if not close to 10. So the maca, I tried it. Dr. Kathy recommended it, and girl, it was like it woke me up. Like I was like walking, and
and fellas out there, they're looking good now.
Yeah, I was like, you just walking and you see somebody, and I'm like, oh, okay, he's kind of cute, but none of that. It just brought up things that I had not felt in years. So much that I tapered it back. So I'm like, because I know it works. So I just take a little
You had to
each
turn it
day.
down a little bit.
Yeah, I did. I
Okay.
had to dial it down. I'm like, but I know that when the time comes, because I'm not in a relationship right now, but
Uh-huh.
hey, when
But
the
what?
time comes, I'll dial that maca right back up because it
That's
works.
right.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
And the combination actually from ashwagandha, and so some people can take ashwagandha and just by relaxing themselves, their sex drive comes back. But the fact that you've got that under control, now you add the maca. Maca you can get in a powder. You can put it in, if you do a smoothie every day, let's just say you do a green smoothie, you can put it in your smoothie. You can mix it in a juice. You can get the capsules, but women should take the mixed maca. Men can also take maca. So if you need to be, so men can also take it. And so, you when you add that layer on, I think you will, the sex drive will be back. You'll be saying, what time are you coming home, honey?
So when you say the red, black, and yellow, is
So
those
maca
Triple
comes in.
maca. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
called
men
triple maca.
typically take the black maca. So maca comes separate depending on who's taking it, but for women they make it in a blend. So you can get the capsules and it has the red, yellow, black in it, or you can get the maca powder. When you go look at your maca, you don't want the black or the red or the yellow, you want the mixed.
The
Okay.
combination.
The combination, yeah.
Okay.
So how does that sound, Karen? Does that sound like something you'd be
Here's the
willing?
one.
If you're going to do your
We'll
maca,
get to
if
the
you're going to do
brand.
your maca and you're starting out, I would go with, a place where there's a trusted, what is it? Whole Foods.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good brands online. You just want to go with a trusted brand that's,
Right.
that's been certified.
No, I get mine from a place that does
A supplement
specialize
store.
in supplements and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah. So I just, yeah.
Okay, like an herbal
Yeah.
store.
Karen, is there more of your story that you want to share with us? Because it's been a very healthy conversation so far.
Also the up and down with the weight gain.
Mhm.
That's
Tell
gonna
us about
happen.
it. What's going on? What are you
Um,
feeling?
time I didn't even have an appetite. I had lost almost almost 8 to 10 pounds, and and people noticed. It was like, what's wrong? What's going on? You losing all this weight, and I'm like, I just don't have an appetite. My appetite had I lost my appetite for like 2 weeks, and I lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden it just came back. It just came back little bit by little bit, and I just started eating like how I was eating. I done gained back 10 pounds.
Would you say though that the weight loss came when you were at your most anxious, maybe before you started the ashwagandha? And then once you started the ashwagandha and you start feeling less anxious and more like your normal self, then the weight came on. Where did it come in?
I think when I was more stressed out, more stressed.
Is when you lost weight or when you gained?
When I lost my appetite.
Yeah. So, insulin resistance is very normal also for perimenopause. And a lot of times so when you take your probiotic, what you're doing is helping keep a healthy microbe balance in your gut. Because actually our insulin resistance, it's insulin resistance tells us when we eat our food if we're going to store it as fat or we're going to use it as immediate energy. And when we tend to go through perimenopause, that whole 7 to 10 years, regardless of how you eat, you could gain weight. And a lot of patients ladies have problems with that. So just the fact that you're taking the probiotic, you want one that has like lactobacillus and bifido. So just remember bifido and lacto. If your probiotic has bifidobacterium and lactobacillus, you're going to be supporting the microbes that control insulin resistance.
Okay.
So, a lot of women will go in and they'll complain and the doctor will say, oh, that's just normal part of getting, it's a gut response to the changing hormones. And so the microbes get off. See how you're doing so right, because when you do the slippery elm, you're kind of giving a liquid Band-Aid from your mouth through your bottom. And then you added the probiotic. So just instinctively, you've started adding, the right thing. So make sure that your probiotic is lacto and bifido, and then it'll support that. It'll support the microbes that tend to not that will release that insulin resistance, and your metabolism will increase.
Okay. Also, with the odor.
Mm-hmm.
Is that vaginal odor you mean, or?
Yeah, vaginal odor.
Did that get better when you did the slippery elm, or
better when I took the probiotic?
Yeah.
It got better with that. Because
what were you? Who is this? What is it?
because
Look,
I'm like,
And then you realize, is that me?
I know. And that's exactly, you're like, wait, I mean,
Wait a
because I
minute.
have a real, and I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I mean, I'm like, so I know that feeling. Yeah, I've had those moments. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I mean, what is going on?
But wait a minute. Can you imagine that she was looking forward to all of this, and this was like, I'm free.
Okay.
And I mean, but you fought back.
Yeah.
Good girl. So that comes from, again, the hormonal shifts, because we need that estrogen and the right hormone balance for our microbiome of our gut, and also the microbiome of the vagina. And then when you went through those months when you were dry, the bad bacteria overgrow, same way as they could do in the gut. And if they're not addressed early on, like you're doing, you end up somewhere you don't want to be. Okay.
Right.
And so that should improve with the slippery elm, anything that gives the vagina moisture. And do you still feel it from time to time, or feel uncomfortable, or have the odor every once in a while, or is it completely gone?
It when it first came, it just started this month, beginning of this month. And when it first came, I was like, something's going on. I said, I ain't never. This cat always been snatched. I don't know what's going on. But and so I was telling my husband about. I said, something's going on. He was like, what you mean? And I say,
what a good husband you have.
I know that's the fact that you should consider yourself lucky, because look, there are a lot of women that are going through this and their husbands are not supportive and they can't have these conversations. So you should be thankful that you have a husband that will listen and that he's being supportive of you as you go through this process. And it's going to be a process and a journey. So, yeah.
And when you take a probiotic, let's just say you take it every day for 3 months and you're feeling fine, then you could take it 2 or 3 times a week or so. You can kind of gauge how you need to take it, but it needs to be a part of your, especially while you're going through the perimenopause. And the other thing, let's just say, and it is normal for those microbes to get shifted where the bad ones had an environment where they overgrew. You could do something very natural, like just like a boric acid suppository,
That's what I was using. I had started using that.
Okay.
And
so what, say that again, a boric acid suppository?
Boric acid suppository.
She said, hold up a minute. What did you say?
That one yet?
No, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that.
The probiotics is way better to me.
Well, and the boric acid is just he's going home this weekend, and I need to get stuff together. Probiotic is your maintenance, but that boric acid will give you like you're traveling. Well, hopefully you wouldn't just travel but whatever. But your husband's been gone for the week and he's coming home, and all of a sudden there's an odor there. You can go get the boric acid. You can use it. Usually you can just put one in a night for like 3 nights. Now, what you got to do, I don't know if anybody's ever used it, but you've got to
I'm about to
put a mini pad or a washcloth, because once it melts inside and it does its thing, but it's almost instant.
Really?
Yeah, it does leak out. So I would put it in at bedtime, put a little, you might even need like a maxi pad, or a lot of patients will just take a nice fluffy washcloth and put it in their undies for it to, but it cleans it out. It's
Yeah.
fresh. It resets.
Yeah.
It resets the pH because the
Okay.
pH
I've
goes
never heard
off
of that.
when the bacteria balance, and it can become a repetitive cycle. So it's again a domino that falls, and if you don't even have conversations and know what to do, you end up with all. You have done well. Do you know how many people you have taught tonight with
Including me.
head to toe? But no, so you'll have these little things that are your perimenopause toolkit. Okay, that's your toolkit, and you'll have boric acid in there. And here's another thing too, just so you know, if you get tired of the slippery elm, or from time to time you get dry, is to make the coconut suppository. So you can take pure organic coconut oil and get some suppository trays from Amazon, and you would just melt it in the microwave, put them in the trays, and then keep it in the refrigerator. And you put one of those organic coconut oil, because coconut oil is safe for the vagina, and it's considered an essential oil. It penetrates through the tissue and it brings the moisture in from behind. So it makes the vagina fluffy and moist. And so it gives you that. And some women just use it like before sex. So as a lubricant, they might put it in when they're taking their shower, and it just gives you a very natural moisture.
Oh, okay.
And I'd like to say the cold pressed coconut oil, you know, as opposed to the one that they burn to extract,
Yeah.
the cold pressed one is the best.
The cold press.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you want to get all the words: cold press, unrefined, you know, all those mean, you know, also, and you could have organic if you find that, but definitely cold press and unrefined. So
Okay.
nothing in it. And when you and you want to get it from the kitchen section. I don't really like I don't know, you know, the oily ones, the liquid ones, because unless you're tapping that to the outside, because sometimes that liquid can get up in the urethra and, you know, into the tube where you urinate and possibly cause a urinary tract infection. But the coconut oil, you can tap around the outside so the labia move. You could put it, you know, on your thumb and put it in and kind of rotate it a little bit. You can make the suppositories. And some women, instead of hormone replacement therapy, they use those twice a week and maintain their normal moisture.
And also I wanted to state that the boric acid, I had to stop using it because I noticed when I was using it, it was making my right there and my bottom of my stomach, I was getting sharp pains. So I stopped using it. When I stopped using it, the pains went away.
It was making your what? The right side, and what else?
I was getting sharp pains down below.
Yeah. So here's what you're doing with that. So when you put the suppository in, so you want to go further than just, you know, right past the urethra, but you don't want to go all the way to the end of the vagina, because if it is all the way, if it's touching your cervix, the nerves of the cervix can cause pelvic pain. So it can cause pelvic pain. It can make you feel like you have a urinary tract infection. And so what you want to do is you want to go you want to go halfway or just right past halfway, but not all the way in. Do you think you were putting it all the way in?
That's what I was doing.
Let me ask you this. Did you have were you wet in the morning? No.
No.
You weren't, because what happens is when you put it all the way in, it was hitting the cervix and it absorbs that way. And it works. It's wonderful. But when you put it halfway, when it melts, some of it's going to come out.
Okay.
But it's better to do that, because for a lot of women, it's uncomfortable. I mean, it's just an uncomfortable feeling. It makes you not want to use it. But you want to just go a little bit more than halfway.
Okay. So that probably was the issue. I was sticking it too far. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait till you get.
So
your
where are you
maca.
reading? I'm just curious. So you just started looking up this stuff, like I'm like, girl, you have been doing some
researcher. I know.
I'm always my herbs. I'm into my research. I'm always reading about the body, and especially with this premenopausal thing. I've been like really reading. Really reading.
Well, you must not have Googled sex drive. Or
think
did
I
you get
passed.
ashwagandha? Did you get ashwagandha when you Googled it or when you researched it?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ashwagandha is a lot of times the first thing that you come to, but the maca is that next level of, revving
Oh,
you up.
as soon as this, I will be researching this. Yes, this is my.
All right. Well, you'll have to come back and let us know later down the road if it worked or not.
And well, Karen, you know what? I'm so glad that you chose to join us tonight because this has been so rich.
Yes, I'm glad for y'all to have me. I was looking forward to it when Bobby had told me when she brung it to me, introduced me to it. I was like, sure. I was like, sure, because I had like I was telling Kathy that I also was speaking about menopause like 2 months ago on Facebook because I'm a content creator. So I was also talking about menopausal with the ladies.
Good for you. Good for you. Just opening up the conversations. Good for you. And you won't believe how many women you will have touched through this episode, because the majority of women are sitting at home feeling helpless until they hear somebody say, and until they hear the good news is that there's help for this, because you don't, it's just not widely talked about in the average doctor's offices.
It's not. It's not. And I
Do you
have
talk about it at work?
not really.
Oh, okay. You just share it in your groups.
Yeah, that's
Good
it.
for you.
That's it. But at one time I was getting lightheaded. I didn't notice really why I was getting lightheaded, but I had talked to a friend of mine and she was like, if you get some basil and some oregano and just boil it and drink it, she said, I guarantee all that lightheaded and dizziness will go away. And I did it. I said, what can I lose? And I did it and it went away. And I haven't had like the lightheaded dizziness at all.
Very good.
Started growing oregano.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to touch back in with us in 6 months to a year and we got to see the garden. You got to let us know. Now be careful, because here's the other thing that we need to say, especially if we're getting on that maca. Unless you're on birth control, or let's just say your sex drive increases, you're still fertile during perimenopause. You have to be concerned about contraception until you go, huh? You had your tubes tied?
I had them tied, cut, and
Okay,
burnt.
good.
But
All right.
for those people who have not done
But
that,
those people who have not, perimenopause is not contraception. And so when you start taking supplements and then you start feeling more into wanting to have sex, if you've got to make some decisions about contraception.
Right. Okay.
But you don't. You have your tubes tied, so you're good.
That no more babies here. My youngest is 27.
Oh my
wow,
goodness.
she looks about
You
27.
look wonderful. Good for you.
Thank you. And
Good
my
for
oldest is
you.
35.
You're what?
My oldest is 35.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
he
you've been
look
taking
good.
you've been taking good care of
Yeah.
yourself for a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Because
shows. It definitely
you look
shows.
absolutely you look 35 yourself. You could,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you do not look like you'd have a 35-year-old. Good for you. So you're
Thank
going to do well.
Yeah.
You're going to do well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that brings us to the end of our episode, Karen. We are so glad that you joined us, and we have learned stuff from you. And I think, our audience will have learned stuff from you because you were so proactive in taking care of yourself and making decisions and looking into supplements. And this, you have done exactly what we are wanting to do for our audience, which is educate and help people to live a more productive menopausal life. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And I hope you got something out of it too.
I
And
did.
good. And that you'll come back later on and, share with us how, things are going as far as, whether the other supplements that we talked about, if they're helping you in your sex life and your sex drive and all that good stuff. So
Oh,
thank you so much.
I appreciate it. I had a good time, ladies.
Thank you
We
for
did
joining
too.
us.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
And
Bye-bye.
for our audience, please share our podcast and with your friends and anyone who you think would benefit from it. And join us next time.
This is Menopause Diaries, real talk, real stories. Thanks for listening. Let's thrive together through every hot flash, mood swing, and sleepless night. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Menopause Diaries, real talk, real stories. If you have questions or want to share your story or would like to be a guest, visit us on Instagram at Menopause Diaries Podcast. Let us start a conversation and navigate this journey together.